Mbomo and Wissa complete a remarkable comeback for Brentford away at White Hart Lane. 1-0 up Tottenham were courtesy of a screamer from Harry Kane. But the second half kind of started as the second half ended, with Brentford picking up more and more of the ball, picking up more and more spaces, creating opportunities. And in the second half, they had their killer instinct. No Ivan Toney. But that didn't matter. Brentford stepped up, putting in another remarkable performance, another sensational result in an overall brilliant season. Brilliant season for the West Londoners. They dent and damage Tottenham's season once more. There was meant to be like awards and a little bit of a ceremony at the end of the game, a lap of honor. That appears to be dead in the water now, with 50, 60, 70% of the Tottenham crowd leaving with frustration and contempt for their team after witnessing another bottle job, witnessing their team lose for the 14th time this season, and Tottenham getting destroyed again. And it isn't just everywhere they go, it's even when they're at home. And all the talk from Spurs fans about give Ryan Mason an opportunity and a chance. What poppycock? What nonsense? What shenanigans is this? Equally all week, and I'm calling you out, Patrick. I'm calling out Patrick. I'm calling out all the Spurs fans who sat on the terrace in this last week and turned their nose up at Thomas Frank. How dare you? How dare you turn your nose up at a manager who has a genuine shoestring budget compared to yours, who is one win away from surpassing you this season with a fraction of the quality in the squad? A stadium, by the way, that their new stadium cost as much as Richarlison. How dare you belittle him? How dare you say no to him? How dare you?
How dare you?
And from my point of view, I just felt it was disrespectful. Spurs are a big club. They're not a giant club. They're not a Man United. They're not an Arsenal. They're not a Liverpool. They're a big club. They're not a giant club, though. And they've got the possibility, by the way, of bringing in Luis Enrique. That may happen. But to turn your nose up at this, no wonder they beat you today. No wonder they turned around and said, hang on a minute. Hang on a damn minute. Who do you think you are? You took the lead for a screamer. That was it. Some decent chances in the first half as well. But again, too much mouth, too much arrogance from Tottenham fans, biting them in the backside. The football gods have spoken again. As the great Rock would say, know your role and shut your goddamn mouth. Thomas Frank, laughing at him. Imagine spending all week laughing at the idea of Thomas Frank, only for him to do this to you. Now, on a football level, I want to speak about Brentford for a minute because they were class. And do you know what I love about the way they play football? They can play out from the back. They can pass through your press. But then they go very direct. It is this beautiful hybrid of kind of old school direct football and the modern day game. And I believe Thomas Frank could play both ways. I think he could play completely directly if he had to. I also believe that with more budget, more money being spent, he would play a more fluent style and a less direct style at times in games. There are moments, by the way, where all teams are direct, 1-2 passes. Look at the way Man City scored their goals against Arsenal. A couple of them are very, very much from defense to attack within a couple of passes. So it's good to be able to mix this up. But the way Brentford play is amazing. They play a numbers game. They play games by stats and maths. They work out, well, let's not shoot from these areas. Let's work the ball into specific danger zones within the box because the opportunity of scoring is much higher. But you still need to have great drills and great training to get to that point, because you have to have confidence to be able to work it into those areas, to not panic and shoot from city situations, to not waste the ball too regularly in games. The football that Thomas Frank has got this Brentford team playing with the budgets they have, remember, tiny club in comparison to the top six, tiny club in comparison to teams like Everton and Leeds that are going down, are far bigger, both in terms of their local communities and nationally and internationally in comparison. So an absolute brilliant performance from them. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. They were sensational. They really were sensational. So fair play to them, and happy for them today. And I love what Thomas Frank has done there, as I said on a few occasions already, which is why I think this week I kind of let it go on the shows. I'm getting to a stage now where I like to let my panel talk. When it's Man United, I'll always butt in, but I like to let the panel talk. I like to let the panel speak and kind of have their say on things. But I was kind of taken aback this week. I'm not going to lie, by the kind of disrespect being kind of leveled around Thomas Frank and what Brentford have done, and we don't want that at our club. We're bigger than that. We want something better. I just thought to myself, on what planet, are you better than that? On what planet? Whereabouts? Because I can't see it. I don't know it. I don't recognize it. So yeah, it was just a bit of a frustration for me to see, and maybe that's just not even disrespect from Tottenham fans. Maybe it's just sort of anger and frustration. It's such a horrible season for them again. Another rebuild will probably have to start in the summer because it'll be a new manager with a new philosophy that will want a different profile of player to what the previous two have been spending money on. So I get the frustrations, but don't turn your nose up at Thomas Frank. Don't disrespect Thomas Frank. The man in my opinion, he's a little genius. Can he hack it at a big club? I don't know, but I would love to see him. I would love to see him be given an opportunity to do it. And I certainly don't think Tottenham, of all clubs and all fan bases, should be the ones to be belittling him, of all people, in my view and in my opinion. Let's go to some of your super chats here. First one says, I forgot Patrick said that about Thomas Frank. He's a good coach, and to say he's not what Tottenham need is ridiculous when your own club doesn't either. I agree. This is totally agree with you there. Totally agree. AMT here says, to me, Thomas Frank is a genius manager. The way he turns around the team in the second half. Yeah, brilliant. But also, and again, I mean this with respect, it is only Tottenham. And Tottenham are weak. Tottenham are genuinely weak. They're genuinely weak mentally. They're a very weak side. And I think he knew that. And I was watching the game in the first half, and Spurs are playing well. I'm not going to deny it. It was good seeing them with 4 players attacking, but there was so much room in the middle. And I'm listening to the commentators. They're ignoring it. And I'm sort of thinking, why are you ignoring a clear hole and problem in this team? Second half got exploited. And Ryan Mason may not have even seen it, and I wouldn't personally blame him. He is a fledgling manager who shouldn't be at this level right now. That Conte speech has never echoed as loudly as now, is what J-Boy Imitation says. But it's certainly echoing very loudly in White Hart Lane. This here says, no, they should not leave, but they should give them a barrage of abuse when they come around on their little parade. Jerome is a Spurs fan. That is what he believes should happen here. Debbie says, it's the history of the bottle ham. Spurs, Conte was right. Shout out to Brentford for winning. The thing is, when you have a pop at Spurs and for them being Spursy, people just say it has become tiring this season. It's become tiring. We're in the summer now. I'm sitting here drinking a bit of lemon, orange, and a little bit of vodka. It's the summer. There's ice in it. It's a beautiful day. Been out driving with the roof down today. But Spurs are Spurs, and you got to call it out. Big summer ahead for them, no doubt. No doubt. Frank uses the same tactics as Southgate. See, I don't think you could argue that. It depends how you view it. I think that they are a very attacking team. They just know when to tippy tap around. They know when to go direct. They know when to sit back and absorb pressure. They know what their capabilities are and their limitations. And I think that's key. I want to just say as well, remember, we are giving away 2 tickets to the FA Cup final and £250 spending money. Enter the Football Terrace raffle now. You can buy as many tickets as you want. Scan the QR code or click on the link in the description. Just 6 days left. Just 6 days left to enter that draw, and you could be at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time. Plus, with £250 cash in your back pocket to spend on the day or anything else you want to spend it on. It's entirely up to you. So make sure you're entering. Even if you don't support either team, it could be an amazing spectacle to be at, with maybe a treble being stopped or maybe 2 of the 3 trophies needed to complete a treble. So it could be a great day to witness from a football point of view. Cal here, one of our long-standing Spurs fans, says problem will always be when, while ENIC are in charge, they let the squad get this style, but don't get it twisted. The squad itself looking down on Europe that isn't Champions League is utter disgrace. Pricks is what he says there. I even Spurs fans hear them say they don't want European football. I just don't get it. You should want it and demand your team go and win it. Europa Conference League, here they come, is what Debbie says. And my guy Jerome's back says, tiring. It's almost midnight here, and I go through this crap like it's this ungodly hour. For F's sake, cannot give one good weekend. The good thing is you've only got one more game left. That's away. I mean, it's away at Leeds. You could beat them, but we're Leeds in the table now, scrolling down. They're in the bottom. They may need that. It depends what happens this weekend. Remember, they're playing an hungover West Ham. Spurs could lose their final game of the season. And if Villa pick up a point today, if Brentford win again, they could end up in 9th position. From being a team, and I'm saying this with respect, and you know why I'm saying this, Jerome, because of the crazy abuse that I got this year. A team that I got laughed at for saying could come 5th. I was a clown. I was a fool. I was stupid. Could end up in 9th. 9th. Not as bad as Chelsea's season. Ain't far off. In the end, remember, your greatest ever start to a Premier League season ended in 9th. Deep that for a moment. And look, I looked at the team today, and look, there was changes, tried to go more attacking, but this team just isn't playing for this manager. This team has given up on the season. I know there's a lot of that. There's a lot better to come from this Spurs team. That's why it's hard to break down tactically, because it ain't about the tactics. It's about the work rate. It's about the desire. It's about the mentality. That is a difference. Because when this team has turned it on in recent, when you're 3 down against Liverpool and your backs were against the wall and it was almost, we better fight back here as we're going to get embarrassed. Look how good you were until you got back in the game and stopped. 2-0 down against Man United. Second half, you played like warriors until you went 2-2 and then you sat back for the last 10 minutes. It's all in the heads. In the heads. There's the ability there to be a good team. We're bringing on young Daniel now. I think Jacob is joining us soon as well. Make sure like buttons have been smashed. Let's go. Danny boy, mate, I feel sorry for you. I'm not even trying to be disingenuous. I feel sorry for you. Another embarrassing result, ripped apart at home. Talk to me.
Yeah, look, I think that first half, we were very good. But where we missed opportunities, that's what cost us the game. We had plenty of big opportunities that should have been put away, and we missed them. Complacent in front of goal, it's what lost us the game. I think we had 2 big opportunities missed, and Brentford had 2 big opportunities, and they had 0 missed. That just tells you everything about the game. I don't think we were completely dominated, but the fact that you could put 2 defenders on Mbeumo, 2 of ours, being Ben Davies and Longley, and they still can't handle him, tells us what happens with our backline. Romero gets injured for 1 game, and we have to see a backline of Ben Davies, Longley, Sanchez, which I never want to see wear a white shirt, not a Tottenham shirt, a white shirt in the rest of his life, and Emerson Royale. That is our backline when one of our defenders goes out injured. 1. I'm not even being funny. I'd rather have Eric Dyer over Davinson Sanchez. It's like, which crap smells the worst? Smells the best? They both smell terrible, but which one smells the best? Like, honestly, right now we're a mess. In the beginning of the season, Terry, you know where I predicted Tottenham to be? I predicted Tottenham to be 3rd. 3rd. We're gonna finish 9th. I'm on my knees for Conference League football. Like, this we've gone into a new level of low. A new level of low. I don't see how this club bounces back from this. I see a long period without Champions League football. And I'm saying Champions League football because this is the goal for the owners. For me, It's not the goal. For the owners, it's the goal. And that would be a disappointment. And I see that happening. But what we saw today has been coming for years. And this improvement in the fan base, we've seen people leaving the stadium. They did the end of season awards and nobody was in the stadium. Nobody was in the ground. Nobody was in the stadium. But look, Terry, I made a bet with somebody before the season. And I'm gonna do the bet today, right now on stream. So I said, if we didn't get top 4, I would watch. I can't believe I'm about to do that. I wear a Chelsea shirt, man. Piss off. Yeah, man. I listen.
Stand up. We need to see it. We need to see it in full. In fact, what we'll do, we'll put it in. There he is. Oh wow. There it is. Stand up for us again. Stand up for us again. Stand up for us, Danny. There we go. So we can all get screenshots. He's in a Chelsea shirt. Wow. He's.
Oh my God, I can't believe I've done
I
this.
think you should just keep wearing it.
Oh, what? And be in 11th. I'd rather
Yeah.
support Tottenham. Honestly, bro. I can't. They've let me down this season, honestly.
I feel your pain. They've let you down so bad. You've had to sit on camera and wear a Chelsea shirt because you lost a bet to a Chelsea fan that you would finish in the top 4.
Now
Fair
it's a
play.
Tottenham fan.
Oh, it was to a Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
Fair play to you for sticking by your bet. Fair play to you on that, my friend, because I don't know if I could personally do it. Jacob's here with us as well. I know you guys are not really playing for anything tangible, but at least some pride, at least the final home game, go out with a smile on your faces. It's a beautiful sunny day here in the UK. How are you feeling after that performance, and what went wrong in the second half?
Just a typical example, Terry. First off, big up, Terry, Dan, Alan. Thanks for having me. Good morning from United States. Honestly, waking up at 5:30 a.m. for that, watching that first half, it got me up out of my bed. I'm honest. I was excited with that first half. I was like, okay, here we go. We're going to close out our home season campaign on a good note. Harry Kane almost had a free kick for a goal, which would have been a very classy touch to go out on, because most Spurs fans do not enjoy when he's on a free kick. So for him to score that was a pretty great goal. But again, we just see Ryan Mason get outclassed again. I thought that Thomas Frank made the correct adjustments and made a substitution. And then look what happened. Now all of a sudden we didn't get a touch in their box. We didn't get a touch until I think after the 70th something minute, which is ridiculous. It might have even been the 80th minute when Richarlison came on. But to me, it's just a clear example of our manager is out of his depth. He's operating a big club, and he's out of he can't do it, Terry. That's just how I feel. It doesn't bother me. I guess I'm less mad. I'm less disappointed than usual because, when you're constantly just under duress and constantly used to these kind of performances and capitulations from Spurs, it's just almost natural at this point. The fact that we did do something consistently all season, hey, maybe we could take a positive out of that. We consistently only played for 45 minutes. Sometimes it was the second 45, sometimes the first 45. But again, waking up at 5:30 a.m. to watch that was fun for about 45 minutes. But the second half, Thomas Frank just outclassed Ryan Mason, showed him what a manager does, manages the game, manages the situation, and walks away with 3 points. So big up Brentford. Last thing I did want to say of my rant is Tottenham Hotspur will always make an average to an above average defender look world class. I mean, let's call it right. Kiefer Moore, hat trick. In Buemo, they don't even have Ivan Toney. No problem. You don't got Ivan Toney? Don't worry. We'll still make whoever the next man up is. We'll make him look world class because that's what Tottenham Hotspur do. Until we get this back line sorted out, it doesn't matter who's back there. It's just really disappointing, Terry. So that's what I got.
I hear you completely on that. Some super chats here. First one says, up the Chelsea. Terry, how many are we holding to City? Probably 3 or 4. I would say. We'll see what happens in that one. This here says, aren't Americans winners, or why support Tottenham? America ain't America anymore, my friend. That's what I'm going to say. Without Kane's goals, you'd be 15th. Spurs say white is purity color. No, it's surrender. You fold. It's actually quite funny, to be fair. And Alan, I wanted to ask you that. Is that the last home game? The last time White Hart Lane will ever see Harry Kane in a Spurs shirt?
If it's not, I'd be embarrassed for Harry Kane, to be fair. That's how bad Spurs are. He's got the goals, we know about that. Let's just talk about what people say about football heritage, like having a trophy to bring to the table. And if he doesn't, and he stays at Spurs, he's only got himself to blame if he doesn't doesn't claim a trophy by the end of his season. For me, in regards to the game, okay, it was a great goal, but I'm hoping this game just puts an nail in the coffin of people give Mason a job. He's impressing me. Absolutely not. The reason we're playing back 4, it's not that Mason can play a back 4, is they're preparing, I believe, for Slot coming in as manager, because he traditionally plays a back 4. Obviously, I don't know much about him, but looking at him, because it looks like he's who we're going to get, he likes to play with a back four. I think that's what's being done ahead of time. Why you're not just bringing that manager in to implement his game like he's planned ahead of the transfer window is beyond me. But gone to show that these players, quite a lot of these players aren't good enough. Ben Davies, obviously been there for a while, but move on. He's getting caught out, simple balls through the side and all that, just getting caught out. Spurs fans were so eager to criticise Hugo Lloris, but when people get through and have a shot bottom corner against Fraser Forster, it's like a lumberjack cutting down a tree. How slow it is to go down is absolutely embarrassing. We need a new keeper. We need new defenders. Skip proving once and for all that he's actually not good enough. How you're getting caught in a position like that and absolutely so slow to react is beyond me. So Kane, looking at this, if he decides that he's going to stay at Spurs, then literally, when Spurs fans try and defend him and saying, "Oh, he's Tottenham through and through," no, you've got all the goals, you've got a quality player, but if you're not coming to the mentality where you've got to win trophies, considering you've got 2 or 3 good seasons left, you've only got yourself to blame. But yeah, it's like a tour of parade of giving people their final dues at Spurs. Lucas Moura, I don't care if it's his last game.
Let's bring him out. Let's bring him out and just clap for him. Yay! Remember Amsterdam?
The whole thing is we have to do that. And Daniel Levy's whole thing to the good letter to the fans. Oh, I understand you're you're absolutely not. Do you not understand? You do not understand. You're quick enough to twerk and pat a thing of, oh look, Beyonce at the stadium, or this is going on the stadium. But as soon as it comes to naming a manager, coming up with a plan and letting the fans know, no, you come up with all this waffle, all this drivel to say that, oh, we're going to put things in place. You're not quick enough to do it with this team, which we are a football club first, but you continue to roll out stuff like, oh, look at all the new stuff that's come to the stadium. No one cares about that. Do your job. If not, move out of the way and let somebody come in. If the Qataris don't buy Man United, I am praying that they buy Spurs. Cash injection with people that would spend to win, which is what football is all about. You have to spend to win. Leicester being an anomaly, but I've had enough of this club and the way we run from top to bottom. Is an absolute shitfest. It really is.
Alan, can I ask you something? So you mentioned earlier, I did want to talk about the Levy thing because I'll just real quickly say that's Chat GPT. Let's look at that. Let's look at it right. I mean, if you read that thing, I couldn't even read it because it was so bureaucratic, so corporate of a letter. That was to Chat GPT. Daniel Levy didn't write that. I'm convinced. And secondly, you said something about we're looking at Arne Slot. Maybe that's why we kind of played this formation. I wanted to ask you, do you think that, because I was listening to the press conference from Arne Slot yesterday, and he basically said, I'm not going to talk about that. He kept turning down any opportunity to speak on it other than to say, I have another game left at Feyenoord. We're focused in on that game. And I agree with you. I would like to see the new man come in. We should have already had someone come in and implement the system of the person we're looking at getting. But again, I think that takes a director of football, and we don't have that. So it's just an embarrassment from the top down. So I don't really know what we could have done in any fashion to implement a system that we think could be the thing going forward. So for me, looking at that formation, the lineup, it just seemed like maybe we were window shopping some players. Hey, let's see Davinson Sanchez get 90 minutes. Maybe we could get 15 for him. Let's let Davies go out there, get it.
We can't do that though, because although it sounds funny, but we're fighting for a European spot. So we can't just go, oh yeah, we're trying to get Europa League, but let's just play all our crap players. We can't do that.
So then why do you think, Dan? Why do you think that we had that? Why do we play, what is that, like a 4-2-3-1 that we played?
Because everybody's been asking for it, and this man has no backbone.
So Ryan listens to Twitter or YouTube? Is that what we're saying?
No, but word gets around. Players hear things.
That's fair.
And when you've got everybody in the fan base saying play with the back four, we played with the back four like twice in my recent memory, getting slapped 6-1 by Newcastle, and this game. But people still want a back four. Oh yeah, but we're not a team that could play with a back three. We can't play with a back three. We can't play with a back four. We can't play with a back two. We can't play with a back one. We can't play with anything because these players are not good enough. Not to play a certain system, but to play football. They're not good enough for this sport. They're not good enough for this club. Davinson Sanchez starting is abysmal. Eric Dyer is better than Davinson Sanchez. Have Eric Dyer be better than you is just disgraceful in itself. But honestly, the team selection today has just left me boggled. absolutely boggled. But people saying that they're happy with the team selection, I don't know what to tell you. One player gets injured, and this is what you get. Romero
No
gets
Eric
injured.
Dyer. I'm always happy when there's no Eric Dyer. I don't care if it's Davinson Sanchez, Javid Tanganga, Clement Longley.
The team selection was a bit of a mess, let's be fair. But like, I understand what you're trying to say, Jake, but like trying to sell them. But the performances like that, we couldn't give some of these players away for free. That's how bad we are. And this is the thing. Spurs, like some Spurs fans did lose their minds at the bit, like in the transfer window in the summer, saying, "Oh yeah, that's like a 10 out of 10 window, this and the other." Conte, for all of the things where I wanted him out quite earlier on this season, he didn't have he wanted defenders because he likes to build from a base and go forward. We didn't really give him the exact defenders he wanted or the quality of defenders. So what did he do? He dropped the whole team further back, nullified players going forward in attack. You've seen in the first half when the players we've got attack, we can cause teams problems, but we decide we're not going to do that. Then when we get a manager that wants to play on the front foot, he neglects the defence. So we are wide open. When we can attack and score goals or cause teams problems, but we're absolutely nowhere in defence. The complete and utter lack of idea of what you want this football club to be at the moment with the manager to the players is mind-boggling. How we're even in the top 10 this moment. This season has been such a horror show. How we are so far up. Literally, I would be honest, like you said about if Harry Kane, we didn't have Harry Kane this season because it's not just the goals you take away, it takes the system. That would be relegated this season. If we didn't have Harry Kane in that squad this season, we would be in a relegation battle to the last day, maybe even going down. That's how much we've relied on him this season. And put into context, everyone's waxed lyrical about Haaland, and rightfully so, because he is an absolute phenomenon in front of a goal. Literally 36 is it in the league in the amount of games he's got, absolutely phenomenal. But 28 for Kane in this absolutely appalling Tottenham team, it stands up to the mark as well, because literally how on earth can you, with a team that's been so shoddy, so lackluster in defence, in midfield this season, where Kane's had to drop back and play make as well, just goes to show the type of quality player he is. For him and himself and his legacy in football, he has to move from Spurs and win trophies. Otherwise he drops way below the standard.
I agree he has to. And look, I'm a little biased in this because I'd love to see him come to Manchester United. We need a number 9. I think I almost feel like we're tailor-made for each other. I really do. But at the same time, I've been talking about this for 4 seasons now. There's videos of mine from about 4 years ago where I'm looking at your team going, right, decent, but Kane, you're too good for this. Get yourself to an elite level football club. I'm going to go to Mr. Box Office in a minute. I've got some super chats first. First one says, breaking it down, that is that a child could easily understand. This will be the 5th manager in 4 years, 6 to 7 if you count the interims. Just don't have a plan. I think that's massively true. 6th worst defense in the league. Yeah, it's crazy when you think about that, especially as a lot of your season you had Antonio Conte. Get Kane out of this weak mentality club. Have fun being out of the top 6, by the way. Newcastle are taking your spot. Tottenham back to where they belong is what Alberto Ray says. I feel that kind of echoes what young Daniel was saying earlier in the stream about, the future of things. Dan, how does it feel to have a 2 times Champions League winner shirt on?
Honestly.
Debbie here says, poor kid. I'm so sorry, man. At least you don't have to watch them anymore.
Well, we've got 1 game left.
Yeah. Spurs fans should be thankful they don't support Peterborough.
What? Well, Peterborough probably won a trophy more recently than Tottenham, so
maybe. The club, the new Champions League model in 23-24 will include top 5 teams in the league format. I wonder if the Premier League will play off spots for them. They might do anything that makes more money. Imagine that, like the teams that come like between 5th and 8th or something like that. Like the 4 teams after 4th, like they may go into a playoff or something. That'd be quite a good idea, to be fair. Thank goodness. I thought for a second that was Luis Enrique. That guy is good for them. And Jerome here says, by the way, Mourinho is about to win a European trophy, yet our players think they are too good for the Europa or Conference League. Joke players and joke club. Mr. Box Office is here. What you saying, mate? How are you?
And by the way, just to say this, we kept above average John Carew aka Haaland, with no goals, quiet at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, by the way. So before anybody says anything, and I said this is clipped on Football Heritage TV, Savage channel, by the way, just to give him a plug, by the way. Yeah, so I mean, I've heard the excuses before already, because my biggest disappointment this season, I have to say this, my biggest disappointment this season was that FA Cup match, because for me, that was the biggest opportunity of Tottenham Hotspur winning a trophy. Absolutely, that opened up absolutely, and I'm sorry. I don't care whether Manchester City were in that competition. Yeah, don't care. I do not care, because I was told we had Manchester City's number. Manchester City's number. Yeah, and since that day, I gave up. I didn't think my team was that great anyway, but I was told that Harry Kane and Son and Richarlison are and Kulusevski, if you want to add the reject from Juventus, were the best strike force in the world, well, best strike force in the Premier League. And now you see what you're seeing at the moment. You know what I mean? Now, for me, let's go off what happened today, because we all know this team's done and everything else. I think we need to start looking at solutions now, because for me, I'm very, very worried that we are going to be floundering next season, because we all know Harry Kane needs to leave. Absolutely, completely, 100%. But what are we going to do to move forward? We need a manager in. The ITKs have said that we've got a director of football is going to be announced. Depending on what that happens, and we have to see what happens. But I just need to see a plan. That's what I need to see right now. Because this, I've got really bad chills that this is going to turn out. Because when you see what Everton are doing at the moment, it's concerning. Those goals were absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. I'm sorry. That's from, you expect that from a bottom four club. It's awful, awful defending, and it just looks like a club that players that don't know what they're doing, and that's it. I don't know what else to say on that, and that's it. And and I shouldn't be. I should be there right now. I should be excited to go to games, but I'm not going to games because I'm fed up. And it's not because people are telling me, because I've got better things to do in my time. I'd rather go to a soca music. I'd rather go to a soca party, and that's it. Because I'll get more joy out of doing that than than going to Tottenham games
What's
and just
a
seeing us flop.
what's a Socan party? Like
Soca party. That's what I'm saying. Soca
yeah,
party.
what is that? What is it?
Well, it's just soca music,
Oh, okay.
soca music, soca music. So that's it. So that's what I'd rather go to that, to be honest with you, rather than what I'm doing at the moment. So save money and do that more often. And that's it. Back to you, Terry. I'm done.
Mate, I hear you on that. Look, I think it's one of those things. The amount of money it costs to go and watch Spurs play, you have to be demanding better. And I don't think it's just about winning. I think it's about a plan, a process, knowing that you're moving in the right direction. The way you're being treated as fans, why the hell should you give them your money? But you know me, I don't believe in this notion of, but you should be there to support the boys. Not if the overarching endeavors of the football club are not to give you back what it is that you want. Yeah, I find it crazy to me. This is so Luis Enrique isn't getting the job. Well, who do you guys feel is going to get the job now? Luis Enrique's link.
Rodgers
is linked. Rodgers is still linked.
Brendan Rodgers is coming.
I wanted Graham Potter. I wanted Graham Potter, and I'll tell you why.
Don't do that, Alex. Come on.
No, I'm tell you why. I'll tell you why. I said because I think he's got something to prove now, and I think with the director of football, I think he start the process off for Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, that's what I was thinking. I think we're so in the mud at the moment. We need to start the process off completely. Absolutely, completely. I think it's going to be somebody like Brendan Rodgers or a Graham Potter, and I think what we need to do is do what Brighton have done. I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job. What they've done, they had Graham Potter, and Graham Potter started that process off, and then when he left, they had a plan in place, and when he left, got De Zerbi in, and he's carried on that process and even more further the process on. I think that's what Tottenham Hotspur need to be doing at the moment, and that's it for me. Whether that will happen, I don't know. because from what I'm hearing, we're going for we might be going for Prodigy 2.0 at Roma. I forgot his name now, but I think the other guy from Bayern Leverkusen sounds promising for me, and I think
Yeah,
I think that one sounds more promising than anybody. But I've got no idea what we're going to do. The other thing as well that really annoys me about this club is that I'm hearing a lot about Donna Cullen and Daniel Levy more than the players and everything else. And I
What
sit there and think,
about their relationship.
well, yeah, I'm just fed up of hearing about it. I just think, why do I
y'all
need
saw
to know
that
about
lap slap. Come
Yeah,
on,
what?
you saw her.
who do you?
It's okay,
Who do you like?
Danny.
So, Alan, who do you want to come in? Who's like your number one choice of the candidates you're linked with?
My number one was Nagelsmann when he became available, but he's obviously not happening.
But we don't want him.
I think it'll be Slot. Now, I think that's what they're aiming to do. Like I said, I think they're playing the formation that's going to be like to get players or see what players are going to be in that position or can do in that formation ahead of him coming in. Like I said, I don't know much about him. I know he has won the Dutch league. I know he plays with 4-2-3-1. I know he likes to give youth a chance and all that, which I think is what they're trying to promote now at Spurs. It's taken a bit of time to come with an understanding of like putting youth in, or giving youth a chance. But I think that's what they're going with. But knowing Spurs will fumble the ball and end up with sticking with Mason or Rodgers, that's exactly what Spurs are like. So Slot, I think, is the man they're wanting in. I wanted Nagelsmann, but don't get everything you want with Spurs.
Nobody wants Luis Enrique, or do you think
You got nothing you want.
He's not going to say yes to us.
Luis
Enrique.
Luis Enrique is not going to be good for us because unfortunately we can't get rid of all the players that we've got already and play his football. If we can get rid of all the players and get players that he wants to play his type of football, yeah, maybe, but it's not going to happen.
No manager's going to work. No manager's going to work. Any manager that comes in is going to fail.
I'm not going to say it's no manager's going to work. I'm not going to say that, but I would say that because there are certain things. Well, Dan, I respect what you say, regardless what you say, because you're allowed to say what you're saying. But my point is that I don't think he's right for our club at the moment. But there are managers, because Poch did work out, and Martin Yole worked out.
Yes.
And
United
Martin
score.
Yole worked out. Terry's showing that Man United have just scored now. So that
Please
just
tell me
shows
that's
you.
Daniel Levy resigning for Spurs. That's why you're getting excited. Please tell me.
Overhead kick from Casemiro score.
No way.
Oh, really?
Actually.
Shows you what quality does. Shows you what quality does.
In close range, I'll walk you through it. I'll walk you through the goal when I see the replay. I'm hoping it ain't offside. We've actually been playing quite well in the opening 10 minutes. Massive game for us today, of course. It is Bournemouth, but it's still big. So Ericsson dinks the ball over the top. Yeah, it's not the best overhead kick in the world, but I'm calling it an overhead kick.
Hey, take it, man. Take it.
I'm going to watch it back and it's just going to be a volley.
Now I've seen the replay. It's a good kick. It's a fucking good goal. It's a fucking good goal. That's what I'm going to say. It's a very good goal. It's a very, very good goal.
Terry, it don't matter if you're playing Bournemouth or not. That's still a big game. 3 points is 3 points.
Do you know what? It becomes an even bigger game because if we slip up, it isn't just that Liverpool will probably go ahead of us today. It's also you're dropping points to Bournemouth. So it's that double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword, if that makes sense. So yes, buzzing about that. But look, I think you guys, listen, I get where Dan's coming from. When you say it isn't going to work, I think it all depends on what you're all looking at as working. Because if you're thinking win a Premier League, probably no one is going to work. If it's winning some trophies, I think Luis Enrique being backed by your club will work. I think you can win trophies with a manager like him if he's backed.
But that part that you just said, he gets backed. That's the part. I mean, come on, Jose, if he gets backed, he even got us to a cup final with not even getting backed. So to me, I agree with Dan. I agree with the sentiments that it doesn't matter who we get in here. It's not going to work until the key phrase, backing the manager. And I know people are going to say, oh, backing the manager could be a retrospective outlook when we look back at it, like, oh, this summer he wasn't backed. And some people in the summer say that Conte was backed. But I mean, if you look at the players brought in, there was one player brought in for Conte and it was on a free. So you can't tell me that's backing. We spent money. It's just not
Our best signing is a goalkeeper to replace our aging goalkeeper, which is older than the goalkeeper that we brought in to replace.
You know what's crazy about it?
I
looked at it today, right? And I thought, Jed Spence, Basuma, Dan Juma, and Porro, they weren't like all the signings Conte wanted went straight into your team. January signings the year before, Kulusevski and Bentancur, and then of course with Perisic, they went straight in. Those signings I mentioned there, Porro, Danjuma, Spence, Basuma, he clearly didn't want them because they weren't really getting a sniff.
Poro, yeah.
That's
But
why
we did. But
Even Porro, he came into the team, but he's so much better than Emerson Royale. It should have been an instant thing, and it wasn't. It was weird to me.
Terry, the signings that we got, like Kulusevski and Bentancur, fitted what Tottenham wanted as players as well. You see, we didn't want to do it the way that Conte wanted. The same with Mourinho. We didn't want to do it the way that Mourinho wanted either. You see, and the thing is, though, you said it yourself, and I'll give you credit for this. You said to me that my debut on the show, you said, do what Mourinho wants, and he's happy, and that's it. We didn't do what Mourinho wanted, and look what happened. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I said it was the worst mistake to sack Pochettino, not because I love Pochettino, no. It's because he was the best thing for Tottenham. And the only reason why it also was getting Mourinho, who was nowhere near what we needed at the time, get a Nagelsmann in, get a Rodgers in. Yes, that carries on the process, but we never did that, didn't we? You see what I'm saying? Now, whether it will happen with supposedly
Jose got us to a final, though.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is, though, Jacob, is that the target was getting Champions League, wasn't it? Because if it wasn't Champions League, we would have kept him on to try and win that competition, and we would have won that competition, I think, as well. To be honest with you, I think that's another reason why he got sacked. But my point is, just carry on the process. You know what I mean? Carry on the process, because this is. This is a crucial time for Tottenham at the moment. This is a very crucial time for Tottenham at the moment, because it can't.
We've got to get away from this whole process thing in football now. I think it's just being overused too much, because Spurs had an idea and like a way they wanted to go with Poch, and as soon as that didn't work and his time was over, there's been no process for Spurs. There's been no idea, no identity moving forward. What happened is, Daniel Levy, with how he works, is like, oh, Poch almost got there, but didn't go over the line. What I'll do is I'll bring in a winner. So he brought in Mourinho, who plays a different way, no clear thought or understanding what to do next. Then didn't give it the players Mourinho wanted, and all that happened. It gets to a point where we can win a trophy, and you take out the man who's got you there. Although I wanted him gone, you at least let him see out the final, and then fouls, good riddance. Thanks for all that. Get out of the club, good riddance. But you know what I mean. But since then, obviously, it was like Conte. They brought in win-now managers because they thought Poch was not the win-now manager. He got so close, and then they wanted a win-now manager to get us over the line, winning trophies. It hasn't worked, and now we're in a complete mess. And now it looks like we're going to go back to an idea and identity. I think the reason why Slot works best in his team is because what's there is what he can work with off the bat. Luis Enrique, I think too many changes. And then if we don't give him what he wants, then in about a season, 18 months, if it's not going well, then it's going to be like, oh, he wants to go, or Luis Enrique's not getting back, and the continual thing happens. It might not be Slot. It could be another young manager, what they want to do, but it's just like getting a structure to this team back, because at the moment there's no structure. Yeah. There's no full process from top to bottom.
Alan, you think Slot can handle these players? You think that he could do something with these players?
I think what he does is he likes to work with youth and all that. I think the players that you've got there, he can do stuff with. So you've got Porro. This is obviously going to everyone that's going to be there. Kulusevski should get over the line, but there's obviously things about that. Bentancur, I think you do, obviously these are players that are good enough. If Kane does stay, you've got Son. I think the way he plays, because I've had to check him out because I didn't know much about him, I think he's got enough people there to be able to work with, and then bring in people that he wants to. So I think half the squad.
I think half the squad is not good.
I think he can come in and do a better job with what's there at the moment, or get better out of players without as much upheaval as possible, with obviously a few quality signings. I think Luis Enrique is completely torn up. Another 6-7 players in, getting people out, I think it's just going to be a longer situation to get to where we want to be. I think Slot is the thing now. If we get there with Enrique, because I don't have no faith in this ball to go to Enrique. If we were to get him in, go Enrique, you tell us everything you want, and we'll do our absolute best to get 90 to 95% of what you want in. Because when have we seen our Spurs? I don't think it happens. We spend poorly. We don't get the right people in, and it's another horrendous season for Spurs.
I think half the squad's wrong. I think half the squad is not ready for the squad, ready at all. I think you need to tear up this squad completely. I think over a couple of seasons, you need to tear up this squad. I think you need to decide what your spine is, and look at players that fit to what they was it? It's got chemistry with those players that will fit with those players, and that's it. Because I don't think Tottenham Hotspur do it. I think we look at potential and we think, oh, that will work well, that will work well, that will work well, that will work well. Put that in a piece, put that piece and that piece, and for me, it looks like a mixture of people that don't know what they're doing. Hence why you've got Perisic and Son that don't get on with each other. You see what I'm saying? So because like I said before, look at the partnerships we had before. Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Ledley King, Dawson. Dawson without Ledley King was awful, absolutely awful. You know, Dembele, Venyama. You know, we have Harry Kane and Son, but I mean that's coming to an end now. You know what I mean? So for me, you need to start looking at who's going to be the players that you want to keep, who's going to be your spine, and then you build it up from there, and that's it. And I think that's the only way forward for Tottenham Hotspur.
I hear you, gents. A super chat here says, yeah, Terry, now you have nothing to worry about. We do. Until we win this game today, I'm going to be worried. It's big. Maybe getting a South American was a good idea. It certainly has been with Casemiro. There's no doubt. Gents, I want to thank you all for coming onto the panel today. My viewers, my super chatters, my members, big love to all of you. Please hit the like button before you leave and make sure you check out our raffle for 2 tickets plus £250 spending money to the FA Cup final in just over 2 weeks' time. The draw is in 6 days, so don't delay if you're going to enter. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all again